What's up, Philly gang? Welcome to Philly Sex Talk. I know. I was supposed to come out with a podcast last weekend. I wound up getting sick. Philly weather fucking sucks, as y'all know. Um, Tonight's episode is about a conversation with a sub. One of my subs, actually. We're gonna talk about ass worship. We're gonna talk about domination, and we're gonna talk about cuckolding and why he likes it, what's important to him about it. We're going to dive into what made him start liking ass worship. Domination, because why not? Ass worship is a part of BDSM. Everybody knows BDSM is mainly domination. And then we're going to talk about cuckolding, because that's his favorite. Guys, tap in and listen.
Well, I guess I could talk about the topics that you'd want me to talk about. So,
I mean, I'm. What exactly would you want to talk about?
oh, anything you want. I mean the general, I guess the different kinks, sort of where they, I guess even maybe where they come from, why they're fun, stuff like that.
Definitely. Like, why do some guys like ass worship? What made you realize that was your kink? Like, did you realize when you were
Hmm.
younger? Did you realize when you were older? Like, how did you realize?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, for me, I guess it's you can't exactly pinpoint it or anything, but I think probably a lot of people, it's when you start watching porn, to be honest.
So when you started watching porn?
Yeah.
All right, so question, because that's another question. So, like, guys who have like an ass worship fetish, like, do you watch, like, what kind of porn do you watch? Do you watch anal porn? Like, do you guys watch ass worship porn? Like,
I mean, I think the thing with arse worship, it's not really about the like arse itself, so I wouldn't like necessarily. Yeah, I would say for me personally, it's not really anything to do with like arse itself.
mm-hmm.
It's it's more it's more that there's a submissiveness behind it.
Okay.
I think because um well, there's something, I mean, there's something quite obviously like dirty about about someone's arse, it's like
I'm not
it's
gonna
sort of
lie, that was another question too, though, because I know, like, I've done ass worship sessions before, so like I've had a couple of different people ask me to do them, and they've all had different types of, like, they've all like wanted sessions done different ways. So, like, I've never done a real life session. It's always been like an online thing. So for like real life sessions, like, do guys like girls who have been out all day, like running their errands, went to the gym, like, is that a like, I know that's a thing, but like, why is that a thing? Like, because for me, I don't know. Me personally, I'm a super duper, like, cleanly person. When I'm about to have sex, like, I need to have showered. I need you to have showered. Like, so for me, I can't do after gym sex. That's just not a thing for me. So ass worship after the gym just sounds a little too much for me.
well, I think I don't know, sometimes the reality is different to the fantasy. Like when I've like I feel like when you're online
Hmm.
or you're like having a session or something or even watching porn, it's like I don't know, there's no limits. Like you want it to be as like kinky as possible. So
Understandable.
like so like the like for example, like you said, like sweat or
Right.
like I don't know, like even like I don't know, like toilet paper. Like it's
That
it's all
see,
okay.
yeah, like
But
that
then
that
but
that
then
was a
in real life it is different. Like
right.
I've done it in real life, and I feel like some of that stuff, like you, it's just better in fantasy.
Right.
Like
Okay.
the actual.
Understandable.
I think I would guess there's a lot of guys online who I mean, I might be wrong, but I feel like there's a lot of people who, if they actually tried a lot of their fantasies, they would not enjoy them as much as they think. But that being said, I've still done it like a few times, and I'd still do it now. There was this black girl in London, and basically, I paid her like I don't know, it wasn't that much. It was like maybe 60 quid or something,
Hmm.
60 pounds, and yeah, I was like, I just want to, I really want to worship your ass. And, it's pretty hot because she kind of said the right things. I think that's
Gotcha.
a big part. I think that's a big part of it. Like, you have to, you have to do it with someone who's like active, because the thing about obviously submission is it's I don't know. I think it's weird. You're the one who wants to do it,
Right.
and you're the one who's sort of initiating it, but you don't want it to feel like that. You want it to feel like
Like,
it's her.
right. You,
You
okay,
want
so
it,
you want it to feel like more like she's the one that's more in control.
yeah, and you want to feel like almost like she doesn't care what you want. She like
Right.
find
She
she
wants what
just want
she wants, and she wants to. I gotcha. I gotcha.
yeah, you want it to feel like she is basically almost using you, or like seeing you as like do you know what I mean? Like a tool because it's something she enjoys.
Right.
But in reality, obviously, you are you know that like I don't know. I'd like to ask you that. I mean, I don't really understand from as a girl like what do you get anything out of it? I mean,
Um. I
are there
mean,
girls who enjoy it?
for me, I do. I do. Like, I'm not gonna lie. I do like having subs because, and especially subs who kind of like being abused a little bit, because I'm not gonna lie, sometimes when I'm having a bad day, I like to take out some aggression and some anger, and for me, that's kind of a way for me to do that, and having somebody who's willing to sit there and kind of um quote unquote take my beating. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a stress reliever for me, to be honest.
The actual like feeling. I mean, not, I don't want to get
That,
too graphic, but
okay,
what
so
about the actual feeling of like basically someone's tongue in that area?
oh yeah. So ha 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 ha. So I do like that personally, but that's me personally. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Um the person I'm with has an ass fetish. Um and he loves putting his face in my ass, and I've kind of gotten acquainted with the fact of him eating my ass every time he does it. So yeah. And like there'll be times when, like, he'll be back there, and he'll be eating it, and like he'll try to move his head, and I have to like I'll keep his head there. Like, you're not done yet. I don't know where you think you're going. So yeah, it brings me a little joy sometimes.
Well, that's interesting to hear. I mean, I assumed that maybe it was just, I don't know, maybe they're just like humoring it for my benefit. So it's kind of interesting to hear that.
For me, it works out for me because I like my butt being rubbed on, and I have no problem with you putting your face in it, and you just being overly uber obsessed with it. So that works out in my favor. And then, if you're an ass eater, that definitely works out in my favor. You just can't put nothing in my butt. That's where I draw the line.
Yeah, like when you said about anal, I would say I have genuinely no interest in anal
That's interesting
whatsoever.
to know, because I'm not gonna lie. I really thought that people who like were really into ass worship would be into anal too, just because they
No, and
seem to
I'll tell
coincide.
you why. I'll tell you why, because it's almost like the complete opposite. Like anal, I feel like is quite I don't know, it's almost submissive for a girl because it's not obviously in your vagina.
Right.
It feels like very much for the man's benefit.
Got you. Gotcha.
Like
Gotcha.
it's
Gotcha.
not it's pretty, and I think that's why people some people find it hot is because it's, I don't know, it's almost like a violation. It's like
Right.
and
See, and that's another
that's
thing. Like me personally, I like being the dominant one. So for me, any type of okay, let me not say any type of, because there's certain things I don't do and I won't do. But most things that most fetishes that deal with me being the dominant one, I definitely feel like I like more. So when it comes like I said, like when it comes to ass worship, if I want your face to stay there, I'm going to make your face stay there, and you're going to let it stay there until I decide I want you to move it. So like, yeah,
yeah,
yeah, I definitely feel that.
yeah, and like I said, I think it's all about sort of, I don't know, who's the one in control. And I feel like I said with anal, it's like it feels like quite a man thing. I mean, I think when I first started watching um porn, the reason I got into it is because I don't know how to explain it. Like it feels like I don't really get what's sexy about sort of dominating a girl. And the reason why is because, like, okay, put it like, let me like make a scenario. Like,
Mhm.
let's say you like, as a guy, let's say you're in a relationship with a girl.
Uh huh.
Like, what to me, like, what not? There's nothing sexier than, like, let's say you're at home and she literally just like jumps on top of you and she's like, I want you right now, and she's like leading the way,
Gotcha.
because
Right.
for me it's like, well, then surely that's like that makes you special. Whereas, like, for example, if you're into like more the other way around,
Mhm.
I just don't. Maybe, like I said, it kind of starts with porn. Like, I never ever enjoyed that. Like, I never found those videos like interesting or sexy. And I think all the other kinks that come along with it is it's sort of driven by that. Like, there's nothing, like there's nothing inherently sexy about. I mean, I've watched like like a armpit as well.
Really?
Yeah, but it's not, like I said, it's not really about, there's nothing sexy about armpits, but
Right.
there's something sexy about watching a guy sort of look. It's like it's like showing who's boss.
Gotcha. Okay. So it's definitely a dominant thing for you.
Yeah, 100%. And like, if a girl's like, you know, eat my
Mhm.
ass, you know that she's pretty bossy. Like, like it's a pretty. Do you know what I mean?
Okay, okay. So if you were to have an ass worship session, what would it look like? Like, what exactly would be your type of ass worship session?
I would say probably because like there was like I've done it where like she's sort of kneeling on the bed like in doggy style,
Mm-hmm.
and I was there like, obviously eating her ass.
Right.
But I would say it's more fun when I like when she's standing up
Okay.
and you're sort of on the floor or on like kneeling on the
Mm-hmm.
ground, because I don't know, there's something very hot I feel about like her being stood up
Being
and you
above
being
you.
like, yeah, yeah, and you literally being, you know, on the ground, like eating her ass, like, because it's as I said, it's about the power sort of thing, I think.
Gotcha. Okay.
It's a bit like like cuckold, if we want to get into that.
Definitely love
The
cuckolding.
Yes, yes. And actually, those there was one session we did that like stays with me forever. I mean,
Really?
we've done
Wait, which session is it?
what? Oh, I'm surprised you don't know what I'm talking about. I mean, that's funny as well.
We've
That it
done,
was
I'm
sort
not
of,
gonna lie, we've done so many sessions. Like, I don't know. I'm not gonna lie. You were probably like one of my favorite. I'm not gonna don't, we're not gonna tell anybody else that, but you were probably like one of my favorite. Like, that's why I like would we be taking our breaks, I'd be like, I wonder what he's doing.
No, there was just one. I remember you were with your partner, and um I don't know. It was just like the timing was right. I just asked you, like I think you just like you took a picture and he was right behind you, and I was like, oh shit, like this this could be on, like this could.
Hilarious. I love it. I love it. I love it. I remember the one time, I'm not gonna lie, it's like my favorite video too. He's actually, it's like that. He's like right behind me and it's a video and he's like playing with my ace and I'm like, if you're a good little cuck boy, you'll send nail. That's probably like my favorite cooking video. I think
Yeah, that's
that's
exactly
the
what I'm
one.
talking about.
Hilarious. Yeah, that's like one of my favorite ones. That definitely is one of my that definitely is one of my favorite.
Yeah, that was very real and like very intense, and like it was very instant, and I don't know, it felt like that was the first. I'd never felt. I don't know. It was like it. It went like one step beyond porn and became like sort of actual cuckolding, if you know what I mean, because it was like it was live. It was like you were
Right.
there. It was happening as we were talking. That sort of, yeah, that one I remember very well.
Yeah, that definitely was a good session. That definitely was a good session.
But again, it's not so like the worst types of cuckold, and I've seen this.
Mm-hmm.
The worst types is when they blindfold the wife, and like I don't
Blindfold
know,
the
the
wife.
blindfold the wife, and then like I've seen loads of these, and then like the husband will invite like three of his friends, and it's like basically like a gangbang, and like that shit is, first of all, I'm just not into it. I mean,
Understandable.
it's probably.
Understandable. See, I don't know. I don't know. See, you've done sessions with me, so it's a little different because like it's different for me because when I like to cook, I like I like my cucks to know that they'll never ever ever be able to fuck me. Like I want them to know that like
Yeah.
the way that I am with him, I'll never be that way with you. But I still love y'all. I do. I still have love for y'all. It's just a different type of love. It is a different type of love, and I treat y'all different because y'all are different. He, the way,
Yeah, but I would say I'm pretty sure cucks get that. I mean,
yeah,
that's part of the attraction. I think is like I'm looking at you, and we have like you said, we have our own sort of
relationship,
relationship, and
right,
like a dynamic, whatever you want to call it. And it's intimate, and I enjoy it. And then it's like, well, again, that's sort of the hot part. I think is that like we can have sessions and stuff, and
right,
you feel like you have like an almost sexual connection. And then not that again, not that it's delusional, but obviously there's obviously like nudity
right.
involved and stuff, and you're sort of jerking off, so you feel you feel almost
Like
like.
you're there. It's right.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden you see something like that, and it's like it's it's a big reminder of like the, I don't know, I guess the imbalance or the reality. It's the reality of it.
Right.
It's the fact that, so like, let's say, put it I've thought about this before,
Mhm.
but like like obviously in porn everything's a fantasy, everything's fake,
Right.
whatever, and nothing's really as it seems.
Right.
But I was thinking the other day, you can't really fake being cucked.
Yes, that part.
Like like even there's even act like even obviously like professional porn actors, right? Who like do it, and like you think, yeah, I'm sure they all probably go for a beer or something afterwards. Like I'm sure it's not that deep, but like you literally, like, they were literally fucking in front of you. Like
Right.
you are a cuck now. Like
Mhm.
there's no getting away from that. Whereas there's other shit where you think, yeah, well, like like role play stuff where it's all just bollocks. It's
Right.
all just not real. Whereas like for example, like that, like when we had that exact session we're talking about,
Mhm.
like it's fucking real.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
there's no denying
Yeah.
that. Like I'm literally, do you know what I mean? Like you're really doing something, and
Right. And
I'm being like actively excluded, and as if that wasn't enough, you're finding it funny. I think that's a big thing for me. Is like I think there's something so hot about th- th- there's nothing more psychologically cruel, I don't
you
think.
think?
And I think I don't know about other people, but I think once you get into that, it does sort of become like the ultimate female domination thing, I think.
Understandable. Understandable.
There's nothing like you never go back. Like you never, like for example, like if like for example, like when you watch like whipping or caning
Uh
or
huh.
like being locked up or something, once you sort of start what like enjoying cuckolding, like you're not gonna go back
Right.
because it's like it's basically a woman using her ultimate power, and she's literally flexing like the ultimate power over you. And that, do you know what I mean? It's like there's nothing you could do that would take a guy down a peg more.
Then yeah. Then cucking them.
Yeah, I think so. And like I said, you're never going to go back. Like I've, I mean, I like if I'm just watching like porn, for example, like I always want to watch it as like if they're like a husband and wife,
Mhm.
because again, I feel like that's really humiliating because it's like you're never going back. Like you've literally like transformed now. Um, do,
Okay. So so
like you said with your
uh
cucks, like you never like you never ever want to fuck them.
right.
Um, and obviously that's partly because you're in a relationship and obviously you're probably in love with your man and everything. But I feel like I feel like if you, God, I'm not saying I want you to or anything, but if something went wrong and you were single and you were looking for a new relationship, I know for a fact that your cucks would be the last.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
Understandably.
you never ever go there. Like I feel like if you had a guy who was serving you as a cuck,
Mhm.
right? And you like he wanted to get locked up for you, and he like sent you money and
Mhm.
stuff, and then you became single and he hit you up and was like, hey, look, I'm a really good looking guy and I've got loads of money and stuff, do you want to go out with me? You'd be like, fuck no. Like that's never gonna happen. Like there's nothing you could ever have that would make me do
Right.
that, because I know who you
Really
really
are
are.
right.
And
Right.
so anyway, that's my thing with it. I just think it's and like I said, it's the sort of cruelty behind it. It's one of my favorite. It's one of the reasons you were like always one of my favorites,
Oh, thank you.
is because you always had that, and I told you this at the time. Like you always had that smile,
Yeah.
um,
It
which I love. Like, did you do that on purpose, or is it just natural?
it's natural. I'm a smiley person. I'm a smiley giggly person at heart, for real, for real. So I'm always smiling. It's just my thing.
Yeah, but I think when you add like obviously the shit we talk about
Yeah,
or do
sometimes
or whatever.
sometimes it can be a little devilish smile that I give you sometimes.
Yeah, exactly, and I don't know. It's just like it's like you said. It's like you get these ideas like, oh, she's nice. We have good chats, like all this stuff, and then you get hit with something, and it's like, oh fuck, like no, like I'm literally just a slave, like you know.
I love it. I love it.
I mean, look, I'm gonna be real. Like I think there's a lot of I don't know. I think there's a lot of DOMs that are also delusional because they think that, let's say obviously a guy's sending them money
Hmm.
and it feels like it's for nothing,
Right.
right? it's never for nothing.
Right.
Like that doesn't exist in the world. Like, I'm sorry, there is no, like, there is no. I'm literally feeling like
Men
so
here with her.
generous.
Right.
Okay, so when a sub's paying you, like, of course they're doing it for their own benefit.
Right.
Now it's wrapped up in a fantasy of serving, and like doing it for a goddess and everything. And sometimes you like, a relationship might grow where you do, like, just genuinely want to help someone out.
Right.
I've been in situations where, to be honest, it's like I'm not really getting much sexually out of it, but I genuinely feel bad.
Gotcha.
Um, however, this is the thing that pisses me off, is like, if a sub doesn't want to pay you anymore,
Mhm.
then the natural response should be, okay, well, talk, message me when you do,
Right.
you know. That's absolutely fine. That's within your right. You don't have to entertain anyone you don't want to,
Right.
but you can just say that. Or if you like are feeling like whatever, if that's your rules, then you can block them. But I think what you should never do, which has happened to me, is like, you basically just harass someone, and just like keep hitting them up for money. And because there's a threat involved. Like, it happened to me not that long ago,
Really?
where, yeah, well, she was messaging me all the time, and like, she never said it, to be
Mhm.
fair, which is better than some people. But she was basically saying, like, you don't leave like this, like, you don't get to leave like this, like, there are consequences and stuff. And it's basically like, you're almost like threatening to expose someone
Right.
without
Oh
saying it.
yeah.
Because
Yeah.
and I swear to God, it makes you feel like sick. Like, it made me feel sick, because I'm thinking, at any point, like, just because she's pissed off at me.
Right. Yeah. I'm not gonna lie. To be honest, I don't know. That's why I'd be kind of leery with. I'd be kind of leery when it comes to picking my subs, only because I don't. Subs who actually want to stay, and then subs who are just here for a session or two. They're different. Um, the relationships are different. Like, if I know me and you have an active relationship and we do active sessions, if I don't talk to you for a couple days, I might message you and be like, hey, everything okay? Or, I might send you a little clip or whatever. But to like, I don't know. I don't know. I feel like constantly harassing is doing too much. That's why I feel like once like like if you start communicating less, I feel like I said, obviously there's something going on, whether it be a personal, a family, a financial thing. Obviously something's going on that's taking your attention away from what we have going on. So let you figure that out, and then, like I said, when you're ready, you'll come back if that's what you choose to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And no, but that's nice. Like messaging a sub, when, for just to say hi, or just to ask how they're doing. That's obviously really nice. That's not harassment.
Right.
Harassment is like feeling like you're owed something, and it's like, and again, that's when it makes me feel pissed, because it's like, hey, like,
Right.
I'm like, people work hard for their money. And I'm not talking to you, um because, like, I think doms and subs are like both, it's one dynamic, right?
Right.
It's like, they're not separate. They like feed into each other, but equally, you most of the time you're getting a pretty good deal.
Right.
You're getting you're getting a decent amount of money for not that much time. I mean, I know, like, for example, like, people might think, well, oh, I'm only getting $10-15 sometimes, at the lower end, or like $20
Right.
or something like that. But it's like, if you've had to do like 5 minutes work for that $20, that's a that's a pretty good wage.
Right.
That's pretty good. So if you're getting that out of someone, and they're like a repeat, they're paying you
Mhm.
repeatedly, it's like a guy coming into a restaurant every
Every day.
day,
Right.
and then
Right.
like, he comes in on the Sunday, and the manager goes, hey, where the hell were you yesterday? What's going on? Like, no, and said it like that, and was like, hey, what the hell is going on? You weren't here yesterday. You'd be like, what the fuck? Like, I can't. I'm a good customer. I come
Right.
here all the time. Like,
Understandable.
surely it's up to me when I. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, when the hell I feel like um and again, that doesn't excuse, like, that doesn't allow you to be rude.
Right.
Again, same way, same as if you're in a restaurant. Like, just because you're paying doesn't mean you get to talk to people
Sexually, right.
disrespectfully or act like the guy. However, you do have the right to walk out, and I just feel like it would be nice if more, again, but when you give people power, which obviously doms have, which
Mm-hmm.
is why they're doms. There's always gonna be people that abuse it, and
I
it's a shame. It's a shame.
I feel like now with social media being as big as it is, it's easier for um people to pick up on fandom and to try and make that their, quick way to make money. um
Yeah,
because I even it, and I'm not even gonna say just regular fandom, it's content creating period, because I be on different apps and I talk to a lot of people, and a lot of them are men, like even on different apps. It's not even just on here, like even on different apps like Instagram or like Bigo, there's girls who do content that go on these apps that try and push out their stuff, because whether it's they're new or their revenue is down or whatever the case may be, I've noticed a lot of people are pushing their stuff to people
yeah,
individually more so than you know posting a post, or sharing a story or posting a Snapchat. And now it
hmm,
seems to be content creators and doms are literally going and messaging subs or people who they see
yeah,
that buy content or comment on other girls who sell content. And it's
yeah.
Jesus
I mean,
Lord.
yeah, I see it all the time, and it's I feel bad for them because if I get messaged like
uh
that, which happens all the time, I instantly think, well, you must be shit, like you must you must be pretty shit, and you must not be making any money from this because do you know what I mean? Like,
right.
you should it should be like you should be having to like scroll through endless DMs trying to trying to figure out which one's actually going to give you money. Like,
Right.
you shouldn't be like fucking having to message random subs and like hope for the best. I mean,
Agreed.
and the other thing, and this is like when I was at university, I would sometimes like visit
Mhm.
escorts, and do you know what? The amazing thing with escorts is they're actual fucking professionals. Like, they know what they're doing.
Right.
Like, and I don't mean like expensive either. I just mean like
Professionally, they
like
know what
they
they're
you
doing.
yeah, like, you give them the money. Obviously, you give them the money first. They go and like you go and count it. You do
Mhm.
whatever, and then they're really chill. They're like nice. They give you, like, do you know what I mean? They
Right.
you can have a shower or whatever, and then you leave. And it's like, I feel like there's like an almost there's like a privacy and a respect, and I mean, it sounds a bit ridiculous. I'd even say like an honor.
No, I was about to say
Like, it's like a
it's not ridiculous, because in all reality, what people don't understand is when, whether, like I said, it's content creators who are selling content to buyers, or whether it's doms doing sessions with subs, the way that things have been lately with people doing business has made a lot of people very very untrustworthy on both parties. um you know
yeah, I get that. I mean, there's one, I shouldn't bait her out. Like, I'm not gonna give her name or anything, but she she will
hmm
Snapchat. She sends about like 20 Snapchats a day, like of nude stuff, right? Like, basically saying, buy a
right.
session, please buy a session. And then she will message like if no one buys a session, I'm logging
Oh
off.
wow.
Like they get more and more depressive, basically. Like, oh, I literally don't know why I do this. Like, I'm so fed up. Like, why will no one buy a session? Blah blah blah. And she says this every
He
day.
said
Like,
she says this
anyone want to
every
help me
day.
out? Every day she says, I'm never doing this. I'm quitting this. Like, I can't be asked. I can't be bothered to do this anymore. And it's like, why do you think that people owe you like to buy a
Right.
session? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, who the fuck? Like, nobody owes
Anything,
you
right.
anything to be like, oh, I expect. Or if if you've bought a session off her once, then it means you owe her to do it again. Like, what the fuck? Like, that
Yeah, see,
pisses me
and
off.
that's that
Like,
I'm
the
not gonna lie,
entitlement.
that's one of the reasons why like I don't, like I said, unless we've had a a sub and dom mistress relationship, me personally, I'm not going to message you. And like I said, even when I do message you, it might just be a, hey, how are you? Haven't talked to you in a little bit. Are you okay? Like, are you doing good? Because like I said, I've noticed I've talked to a lot of people, and a lot of people have been telling me, like, people are literally just messaging, hey, want to buy content, or oh, you're a sub, and you should be my sub. What? Like, not your message in a sub telling them that they should be your sub. Why should, like, I'm just confused here, because in my thing, my thought process is, if you want to buy something from somebody, you're going to buy it from them. You don't have to go and find your buyers. If you're putting out content that they want to see, they're going to come to you. You don't have to go for them.
Yeah, 100. But it's a sign that, I guess, that it's not going well, and it's ironically also it's a sign that you're not a very sort of you haven't got really the right person. You haven't got the like a dominant
Personality, right.
personality, because you don't have you can't be a dom and not have the confidence. Like that's the entire thing that it's based on, is just the
Right.
confidence. Like, that's why I really do believe, and I found this, like, it seriously doesn't matter what you look like, which is kind of amazing, because it's obviously like it's a very sex, it's all based
I
around
don't know.
sex. So you'd
I feel
assume.
like see for me, I don't I feel like dom and sub relationships, I feel like that's more, for me, I don't feel like it's sexual. I feel like it's more of a semi psychological thing, because you have to as a sub, most men who I've noticed, most men who are subs are guys who how do I put this?
No, go on.
Um they're usually guys who take care of everything. They're usually the guys who go to work and they're like a manager, or they have a really stressful job, and they're tired of being the boss, and they want somebody else to be the boss
Right.
for a little bit.
And I just feel like, as I said, I think that we're all sort of selfish. I think there's always something in it for us, otherwise we wouldn't do it.
Definitely.
and and so I think that's part of the thing that gets confused by doms and subs, to be honest. Like, because so let's do the flip side of that. So, like,
Hmm.
subs, the reason they feel entitled is because they almost think like, well, I'm the one who's like sending to you, like, I'm doing you a favor, I'm sending you money, I'm like sort of
Got you.
putting you as the boss. And it's like, again, you're being delusional, because you're not doing it for
Right.
her. Like, you're not doing it for this woman online. I'm sorry. Like, you might have a nice, like I said, you do build up these like little sort of fun
Right.
dynamics, and like sort of it gets fun. Like, that I've genuinely had some like amazing like conversations and stuff, but ultimately you move on. That's how it's always been with me. Eventually you
Right.
move on. You stop being
Hmm.
interested, because it's about
Right.
you. And so don't feel again, just like a dom shouldn't feel entitled, a sub shouldn't feel entitled to think that, like, oh, I'm helping you out, I'm doing you a favor. You're not doing anyone a favor. You're literally, you've got your fucking dick in your hand. Like, like you've literally got your dick in your hand. Like, do you really not, are you really not putting the dots together? Like, you're doing it for yourself.
Definitely. I definitely feel you on that one. I definitely feel you on that one. Cause
I
like I
mean,
said a little bit ago, like for me, like I actually get something out of kind of, dom, and it for me, like I said, it could be a stress reliever for me. So it's like I said, like it's not sometimes, don't get me wrong, I like the money, but sometimes it doesn't, it's not about the money for me. Sometimes I feel like having my sub and being like session, and he, because I already know he wants a session, and we get on the phone or video chat or whatever it may be, and I I tell him to do whatever I tell him to do, whether, he's a human ashtray and I'm telling him to eat a cigarette, and I'm watching him and like just watching him try not to gag, because he knows if he gags, it's not going to be nice for him, because he's going to have to bust himself in the balls with something. Like for me, that gives me a little bit of a satisfaction. So like you said, it on both parties, we're both getting something out of it, whether it be satisfaction or money. We're both getting something out of it.
yeah, exactly. And it's like, I feel like, sort of, for some people, they forget, like, sort of the basics of
Right.
consent, because they feel like, oh well, this is different, like, this is, like, I'm your goddess, etc. So it's like, yeah, you're you're my goddess, because I've fucking decided to call you
Right.
that. Like, it's just, do you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't go any deeper than that. Like, if that's the thing about, like, that's the whole fun thing about submission, I feel like, is that really, like, the submissive has the control, because if he wants to, or if she wants to stop it at any point, then they're not submissive
Right.
anymore. So if it's a consensual thing, I think it needs to be treated as that. And, like, people need to stop, like I said,
I
deluding
feel like I
themselves
feel
that
like
it's selfless and it's for someone else's
I
benefit.
feel like nowadays, I feel like there's definitely an issue with consent, but not just consent and like rules and regulations or guidelines or whatever you want to call them. I feel like sometimes when people start out in these dom and sub relationships, they don't have those conversations really about what, they might raise the surface on what their kink is or whatever the case may be, but they don't really go on to how far they go onto it, or how far a dom is willing to go for that actual fetish. Because like I said, like, okay, there's some girls who do ass worship won't let you eat their ass. They just will let you touch it and do so much with it. Some girls won't even, they'll do ass worship with their clothes on, or won't even do an ass worship in real life. So I feel like consent and guidelines is definitely something that's um not as important as it should be, I should say.
Yeah, yeah, no, I agree. And I think that, like, I've had situations where I've felt guilty because I feel like they they were a little bit desperate for the money. And obviously, if you're quite desperate for the money, it means that you're not really, you might not be 100%
Right.
comfortable with what you're doing or what you're sending, but you kind of have to do it for the money. And that's, I've been in that situation a couple times, and it's obviously, it just makes it makes you feel really uncomfortable, because,
Gotcha.
but to go back to something we were saying before about the look, like, how do you feel about that? Because I feel that, like, what makes a dom is literally just her confidence, and she can pretty much have any sort of body type, body shape, and if she gives off, like,
convincing energy that she can dominate and be the boss, then she'll get. I feel like she'll get
Yeah,
subs. Do you
I feel
feel
like
like that is do you
I
agree
feel
with
like it's
that or?
definitely more about attitude. I definitely feel like it's more about attitude. I feel like the dressing thing, like because I've seen a bunch of like doms and like leather and stuff like that. I feel like they dress like that because that's their most of the subs that they deal with have a fetish for that. Because I've seen so many different doms who go from anywhere from being in leather to being in regular sweat clothes, like in workout clothes. And there some of the girls that be in workout clothes are more bitchy and dommy and just than the girls who be wearing leather boots and corsets and yeah.
Yeah. I mean the leather boots and the latex thing for me, I'm not just saying this, it's like genuinely an instant turn off, to be honest. And the reason for that is because like the reason why I think I like Findom is like it's like personal and intimate, and it's like you feel like you have this like relationship with a stranger
Right.
like very quickly. And I think when, like, for example, if they're in the like dominatrix
Hmm.
outfit, for me it's just like it's too impersonal. It's
It's
like you
more like
might
a
as well like I
cliche.
might like you might as well just
Right,
watch
because it's more
porn
like a
for
cliche,
free.
and
Like,
I feel like that when it comes to when it comes to, and I hate to be the one to say it, but when it comes to like seeing girls in like we said, the leather, all the leather, and the boots and stuff like that with the whips, I feel like it's a cliche thing. I feel like it's a '70s porn thing, and yeah, yeah, I feel like it's more about the attitude and the way that the dom carries herself.
yeah, because I've seen girls who yeah, I'm not going to be rude, but they're not they're not conventionally like
Right.
super attractive, but they might still have like 2-3 thousand followers because they're genuinely
Right.
convincing that like they are like do you know what I mean, like a dominant
Person, right.
person, and that they will actually like fulfill what a sub would want from like a dom. um with you, because I feel like you sort of do. I feel like you're somewhere in between like sort of. I feel like there's some like sort of basically pure content creators. There's some DOMs. I feel like you're sort of somewhere in between.
Yeah.
Like, was it always like, did you always have the dominant element to it, or
Um
did it
hmm,
did it start off
I'm
as maybe
I'm
just
not gonna lie,
yeah?
when I started out, I was more dominant when I started out. To be honest, the only reason I started doing regular content was to grow my my social media pages. Um at a certain point I had realized the algorithm. I'm not gonna lie, I had realized the algorithm, and I have realized that mm, doing the fetish stuff that I was doing is a small part of a bigger mainstream. Um and I realized that, I do like doing some fetish stuff. I do like doing some fetish stuff. But for
Yeah.
me, I'm gonna be 100% honest. For me, I like I call me selfish if you want to. I like doing content because I like the fact that everyone who follows me or comments or likes my stuff, that they're liking it because they like what they see. They're liking what I'm doing. So
Hmm. Yeah.
yeah, because when I first started
Yeah,
out,
that makes sense.
I was really doing a lot of cucking. I'm not even, I was doing so much cuckolding, so much
Oh, you
cuckolding.
gotta stop saying that. Stop saying that. It's just
I was like, that was kind of my thing when I first came out. Like, me personally, like I said, I like the fact that I can video chat you and you watch me fuck my man, knowing that you'll never be able to fuck me. Like I like the fact that
I can listen to you say that all day. I could literally, you could just say that again and again and again, and I'd stay
like
here
I
all
do
day.
like,
But
and then I like the fact that you like the fact that I'm being sexually satisfied. Like I love that. I love the fact that you sitting there watching me being sexually satisfied, and it's turning you on that I'm getting my nut off. Like yeah, I don't know. It's something
yeah,
about that.
yeah. Well, obviously, like I said before, that's sort of my favorite. Have you ever done it in person?
No, I want to so bad.
I think you'd love that. To be
I
honest,
think it would be fun.
I I feel like if I did it like the like if I did it in its true sense,
hmm
like if I did it properly, it'd probably have to be like sort of locked in chastity because like the reason I say that is because I feel like that's like a true
Agreed.
like when
Agreed.
you like with like for example like if a guy's jerking off, for me it just sort of it ruins it because exactly like you said, like the whole point is the fact that like she's getting something and you're not.
Right.
Like that's what cucking is like your pleasure is purely in what she's feeling and what she's getting,
Right.
and just by being there, just by watching her, you're getting that pleasure out of it as well because that's true submission. Whereas if you're sitting there, just jerking off, do you know what I mean? It's like it just
It
cheapens it, I
does.
feel
It's
like,
a
and
little
it
bit of a cheat, just a little bit. It is. It's a little bit of a cheat because, like you said, when it comes to cucking, I feel like as a cuck, it's your job to watch. It
yeah,
is. It's your job. It's your job
100%.
to watch and want. That the two W's, watch and want. That those are your only two jobs. And then like I also feel like there's levels to it. Like I feel like I feel like when you first start off, you should just watch.
Yeah,
As yous continue to grow y'all your cuck and your cuckold relationship. I feel like then it
yeah,
should get into cleaning up, then it should get into
yeah.
yeah, you just need to learn, you need to know when. I feel like I said, guidelines. I feel
Well,
like
I would say that's why again, it's one of those things that it might because I've never tried it, so it might be completely different. But like when I do watch like cuckold
mhm,
stuff, like it eventually it will turn into basically like, well, I guess bisexual like cuckold. Do you know what I
gotcha,
mean?
yeah, yeah,
Or
gotcha.
do you know what I mean by that?
Yeah,
Or
that's
no?
usually,
Like,
yeah, because that's usually when the girl, whether it's he's eating her out while the guy's fucking her, or he's about to come and the guy goes over and sucks him off and he comes out. Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
exactly. And I don't know. I feel like it's not. I mean, I might. Maybe I'm just deluding. Maybe I'm just lying to myself. I have no. Like, I'm not gay whatsoever. Like, like I have no. I've never ever had like a fantasy about a man
right,
or anything like that. However, like there's something about the fact that it's not for you. It's for it's for her. Like
right,
it's like and even though you're doing like it's doing something to a guy, it's still like that's how far you're willing to
for
go
her to make
for
her
her.
happy, right,
And so that's why I like it. But again, that might be one of those things like in real life, I might be like, no, no, no,
right.
fuck, that's too much. Like, I couldn't do that. But I'll never know unless I try it. But it would take like I'd have to it'd have to be someone that I sort of
I feel like I feel
trust
like yeah, I feel
a
like
lot.
that's something that has to like gradually, like I said, it like over a period of sessions. I feel like that's something that gradually has to happen. I feel like I feel like you can't just, especially if it's somebody who's it's their first time actually being a real life cuck. I feel like I feel like that's not something that you should just throw them into, because like you said, like that might not be something that they're comfortable with in real life. So I feel like you have to work your way there. I feel like in every relationship you have, whether it be a dom and sub relationship, or whatever it be. I feel like you have to start the same way for everything from the ground up. You have to do the introductions, you know actually get to
Yeah,
know the person, because don't get me wrong, like there's a difference of doing sessions with somebody who just messages you out the blue and's like, hey, do you do A, B, and C? Can you do it right now? How much? And you do that, compared to somebody who you gradually have sessions with over and over and over again, because you get to know them. You get to know what they like and what is their turn on, so to speak.
yeah, yeah, 100%. And also, I think from a humiliation point of view, like let's say I don't know, I ever got to meet you,
Mm-hmm.
I would want to. I don't know. I feel like I'd want to almost go out for coffee or shopping or something first, like as a sort of normal,
Right.
like as a normal interaction, because I think it would make it so much more intense
Definitely.
that I sort of knew you as a person a little bit, and then like whatever I don't know, whatever stuff we did,
Right.
but it would feel a lot less,
Awkward.
transactional.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and I think it would
I
make a big
definitely
difference.
understand that, because I'm not gonna lie. I've always said, if I ever did a real life session, before we did the session, I would want to go and meet the person, and like you said, go, whether it's going for coffee or brunch or whatever the case may be, just actually sit down and have a conversation with that person. To I understand who you are on a sub level. I understand what you want on a fetish level, but as far as a person, like, what type of person are you, like, yeah.
Yeah. And there's also something like when you said like when you said the thing, like send now,
Mhm.
like I think there's something so there's something like just that's like the peak for me. Like it does that was like the literal peak, I think, where it doesn't really get much better than
I
that. I mean, you can like what you were saying, like about, like, for example, cleaning up and
mhm.
stuff, which I think every cuck like has obviously those type of
Right.
fantasies. Um, but I would say like you can, like, it's not necessarily all about that. Like, it's also about, for example, like I think the eye contact is the biggest thing. I like when if I'm watching a scene, or if I'm like having a session, the biggest thing is
Gotcha.
like the eye contact, because it's like, again, like you like, as a cuck, your job is to watch.
Right.
Like, your job is to watch. It's not necessarily like like, the problem with some stuff is, like, when they're cleaning up and stuff, you think, well, you're you're getting too much attention. Like, you're almost like, it's too much about you, and it's like, no, it's supposed to be about
Right.
her and her alone. Like, even like, same with the bull. Like in I feel like, for real cuckold, like, it should be about her, really.
Right.
And I feel like it's always better when the bull is saying less, rather than trying to, it's not that he can also humiliate the sub as well, but it should be primarily about her pleasure,
Yeah.
her
I feel like
satisfaction, and the fact that, the cuck doesn't get any.
right, right, and that's my, like, big. That's definitely my biggest thing when it comes to cuckolding. Like, I feel like the number one thing should be that the cuck doesn't get anything. The cuck doesn't get
Yeah.
anything. They're supposed to sit there and watch and want, because that's their job, to sit there, watch, and want.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, like, I've never seen this, but like, if I was writing like a
Mhm.
scene, like, if because I do writing and
Mhm.
stuff. If I was gonna like write a scene, like, the sort of ending would be basically the dom, or the woman would say to the
Mhm.
sub, like, okay, I will allow you to jerk off and come, or you get to clean the cum out of me.
That yeah.
And and the cuck would basically reluctantly reluctantly like choose to eat out the cum
Right.
and not come himself, because again, I think that's the reward. Like that should be your, do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's the same with arse worship. Like the arse worship itself should be the reward. Like it shouldn't be, oh, like you worship my ass and then you get this or you get to do this. It's
Right.
like, no, that in itself is a reward.
Yeah. Like
um
I have a big thing for teasing. I like being a tease. I do. I like being a tease. But I feel like that kind of helps a little bit because I feel like the teasing is kind of like foreplay.
right.
So I feel like the teasing and kind of leads up to, that it, like, you sit there and you just watch as, she sits there, and, whether, your thing is you like watching them twerk, or, you like rubbing on booty, or,
Yeah,
you work your way up to getting to what you want. And I
yeah,
definitely understand you on that one, because even with the cooking situation, I feel like I said, you should sit there and watch. And if like you said, if you're given a choice, your choice should be still to make her to choose her pleasure over your own.
definitely. Otherwise, why, otherwise, find something
Right.
else. Like there's lots of other, like there's a million fetishes and stuff. But again, the whole point of cucking, like I like, to be honest, like I, even though I'm really into the domination and
Hmm.
I love the humiliation side of it, like to be honest, sometimes, like if I'm watching
Hmm.
porn, or if I'm doing a session, like the hottest videos, honestly, are the ones where like the cuck will like go and like basically try and hold her hand, or like,
Hold her
like,
hair.
yeah, like fix her hair or
Right.
something like that. Because I think, like, okay, at least this guy gets it. Like at least this guy like understands like the whole point of being a cuck,
Right.
and the whole point is, you know basically like surrendering and basically allowing her to own, do you know what I mean, to just be about
Right.
her.
For her to be the main priority.
Yeah, 100%. And I think it would be, like, from your point of view as well,
Right.
like it should be sort of, I feel like it should be fun and sexy for you, because you obviously like being with your man
Right.
anyway, and you enjoy that side anyway. So the fact that, like, you have subs who are just desperate, literally just desperate to watch, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
and will obviously pay for the privilege. That should be fun in itself, and you don't really need too much like extra stuff.
Right. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I think cuckolding. I think cuckolding is my favorite. I think that's why I started off with cuckolding, because like you said, it's something about. For me, it's something about the subs being in awe of the fact of, they can see me and they love interacting with me, but they also like the fact that, I fuck I fuck my man, and 9 times out of 10 his dick is bigger, and they're watching and they're just like, why can't it be me? Like, and then,
Yeah,
if we're on video chat, you know it's whether it be from a front angle and you're watching my facial expressions while we're having sex, or, whether he's holding the camera, and, when sometimes he'll talk shit because some subs like when he says stuff. So it kind of
yeah,
all depends. Sometimes, it'll be from both angles, because we'll both be using our phones, and, yeah.
No, I mean, well, that's probably why we get along because it was, it's like it's by far my favorite as well.
Yeah.
So, okay, so tell me, like, what was the? Because you said you sort of started with cucking.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what? Okay, do you remember the first time you heard what a cuck was or what cuckolding was? Like, do you
Um,
remember like the
to
first,
be
like,
to be honest, um, maybe like 1920. Yeah, like 1920.
okay, but like, was it where did you hear it? Like, where did you see it?
I actually stumbled upon it on Pornhub.
Yeah.
I did. um,
I love how after all the shit we've been talking about, you're embarrassed about Pornhub. Like after all
right?
the after all the shit we've been saying, and you're nervous about saying you're on Pornhub.
Oh,
Like,
hilarious. Yeah, I actually started because I found a video on Pornhub, and I was like, and I'm not gonna lie, like it's not, it's not that I
but,
don't.
but what was it? What was it about? Like,
Okay,
what
so
was not the video, but like, yeah, go on.
okay, so it's not that I don't like white men. I like being in control of white men, and I don't that's my thing. I like it. I like it. I do. I'm not gonna lie. I like it. So, the video the I think that's probably why I like being in control of white men. Um so the first video I watched was a girl, and it was a white girl, and her husband was a white guy, and it was one of those old pornos where they had a whole storyline, and she's
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
well, I just want to try just one time. Won't you just let me have sex with him just one time? And, he gives in. And so, in walks this like, he was probably like 6 foot black man that was all muscled
yeah,
up. And like, he took his pants off, and I was like, oh my God. And he went over, and she was like, I just want to feel something, because his dick isn't what I want. And yeah, from that point on, he just went in, and he was just fucking the shit out of her. And the guy was just like the way he watched her, like, you couldn't tell if he liked it or if he was upset about it, because his face was just like, you just couldn't tell. And I like that
yeah.
face. Like, I like the face of, like, it's kind of like a disappointed
Well,
face y'all have a little bit, because it's like y'all disappointed because it's not you.
yeah, and it's like you used the great word. You were like in awe,
Yeah.
cut to like just totally in awe, like just
Like,
stunned and like not
whether, like,
sure.
and that's my thing, like, I don't know if it's like the all of, like, oh my God, I'm really watching this, or is it like the all of, like, I know I'll never satisfy her, and this is how she gets satisfied, and this is what she needs. And look at her, because look at, like, you could tell that she's just getting so much more pleasure from that other person than she gets from you.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like you said before, I'm sure you've probably always like been into
Yeah.
black guys. But was there something? I don't know what I'm trying to do a whole psychological. I'm just was was there something in the video that was like it was special because of the husband, or because I feel like you would probably sort of enjoy like just I don't know, a big black cock fucking a guy, fucking
Um,
a girl anyway. But like, was there something extra? Was there something extra about obviously the husband and watching and stuff?
it was like, I think it like I said, I think it was more him knowing that he never be satisfied, but he still it was still the fact of, like, he loved his wife enough to allow her to get the pleasure she needed, without him
Yeah,
feeling some type of way.
yeah. yeah, that's what sort of draws me to it. And it's like you said, like I love, like for example, with like me and
Hmm.
you, I'd love how we could have like a really friendly, like great sort of dom sub relationship, and it was like, like I said, it feels really friendly and warm and chatty. And then like when you do the cuck, it's like it just shows levels. It just reminds you of where you're at. It just reminds you of who you are, and like,
Right.
do you know what I mean? Like it's just it's the ultimate like establishment of like no, like I am clearly your goddess. I'm clearly your goddess because this is what I do and you get to watch.
Yeah, definitely, definitely, yeah, definitely love cooking. Cooking is definitely one of my favorites. Definitely one of my favorites. I
I always like talking to you, but it's nice to have like this like sort of where we can just like actually talk without, do you know what
Yeah,
I mean?
definitely.
Like without it being like sort of part of a session, or
Yeah,
like, I'm like where you're not having to play a character, and me neither. I mean, subs and don't like we're all playing a character really.
definitely.
And again, that's something that I think people aren't really don't really
See, I don't
understand. It's
see. I
like,
don't know. I don't, and that's the thing for me. Like, I don't know if when we do stuff like that, if we play characters or if that's the type of person we are, and we show the outside world
mm,
a different person because that's who we need to be on the outside world.
good point. Yeah, good point. Yeah, I get what you mean. I mean, like for example, I don't know, like for example, like sometimes people just use cuck as an insult,
Mm,
just like as a like sort of a weak guy. And the funny thing is that like usually, I know this might sound weird, but like usually if someone's just using cuck as an
mm-hmm.
insult, like, oh, like a cuck or whatever, like I'm usually I usually agree. Like I usually agree. Like I don't like sort of weak. I think guys can be pussies, and like I don't like
I
that.
mean,
And it's so weird. It's so weird considering like everything I've just been saying, and like,
I feel like
do you know what
I
I
feel
mean? Like
like
the stuff I'm into.
I feel like I don't know a certain. I don't know. Words, I don't know. Words can be used for various things. I feel like I feel like I don't know. It's maybe it's the way you use it cuz I feel like I don't know. As a cuck, as a cuck to be
Yeah.
honest.
What I mean is that I feel like it doesn't. I don't know. I feel like it's one part of my life. It doesn't
A
necessarily mean
whole
anything
right.
about any other part.
Understandable. That's
You
understandable.
know, like it doesn't like I feel like you wouldn't know what my personality is, or you wouldn't know what I'm like
Right.
because of the stuff that I'm into.
Understandable. That's understandable. And that's my whole thing.
And like for example, also, like for me, like I'm big into like
Mhm.
loyalty. like like I think like I have like I always value
Right.
loyalty. So for me, like if I ever got married, or if I was ever in a relationship, like she could never betray me.
Right.
Like genuinely, like I would end it like instantly.
Understandable.
And I've never cheated on anyone. I never would. um and yet my biggest fantasy, that like the thing that I'm into the most, it like revolves around, do you know what I mean?
Right.
It like it's
Okay,
all
so here's my
about sort
question.
of like
Right, so
testing
here's a
that.
question,
Yeah.
right? So if you do decide to get married with your partner, would you explore cuckolding with your partner? Because that's a question I have. Like okay, if you're single, that's one thing for you to have a dom, but when you're in a relationship, I feel like it would be easier if the person you're in a relationship is someone you can explore your kinks with as well. I feel like if you're in a relationship, I feel like y'all shouldn't just have an emotional connection, but y'all should also kind of have a sexual connection and explore the sexual things that y'all both like.
Definitely. Oh, see, that's a difficult one because it's sort of. I mean, it's really is because, like, for example, like the girlfriends
Mhm.
I've had, like, I don't think we've never really done anything that. I've never done anything that
Mhm.
submissive. Like, I've only like done submissive stuff with basically like, I guess, professionals. Do you
Yeah,
know what I mean? Like
understandable.
people that I'd. And the reason is because, well, there's a couple of reasons. One, I think that most girls are just submissive, and so it's not I think you're potentially an exception in that you do like some dominant stuff, but also I'm sure when you're with your man, I'm sure you also, you
So
know, are like to be submissive
for
as well.
me
No.
personally, so I can be a switch sometimes. I can be a switch sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes I can be submissive. Sometimes I can be dominant. It kind of depends on my mood, um,
Yeah.
and how I'm feeling. Because
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, even when it comes to him, I might not be as dominant as far as fetish wise, but sir, if I want some penis, you better guarantee I'm gonna wake good sir up, and then I'm gonna wake you up because I want some penis and I want it now. So whether it be,
Yeah.
whether it be I'm rubbing on him so his dick gets hard, or I start sucking him off so it can get hard, and then I get on top of him. Yeah, sometimes, or sometimes I don't want to have sex and I just want to play. So, sometimes I'll just play, and he has no choice but to sit there and let me play. So yeah,
Yeah.
it all depends for real on what my mood is or what his mood is. Like, sometimes he's more aggressive, and I'll wake up to dick inside of me, and I'll be like, ooh.
Right.
Well, good morning to you too, good sir.
Yeah.
So yeah, it kind of all depends. It does. It kind of all depends. But yeah, I definitely can say I can be a switch. I can yeah.
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 But he would never. But he'd never, like, for example, like the question you asked me was like, would you want to explore that with a partner? And the problem I have is I, I don't think I would, because I don't think I'd want to. I feel like there's sort of, like we said before, there's not really, you can't really go back.
Right. Um,
I feel like
I
you.
feel so. Me personally, I feel like, I feel like I said, being emotionally connected to somebody you're in a relationship is important, but I feel like being sexually connected to someone in a relationship is important too. One, because I feel like I hate to say it, but sex is a big part of most people's relationships. It is.
Yeah.
So if your partner is not being sexually satisfied the same way as if they're not being emotionally satisfied, if you're working all the time and you come home and you have no interaction with your significant other, you just automatically, come home, eat, take a shower and lay in bed, get on your phone, watch TV, and then go to sleep. You're gonna eventually start to lose that type of connection with your partner. So I feel like
Yeah.
that's kind of the same thing sex wise. I feel like so many people kind of lose their connection with their partner sex wise, and stuff starts to dull out because we don't have those conversations about, okay, I don't feel like, we're having sex as much as we used to, or I don't feel like we're doing A, B, and C. Maybe we should do A, B, and C, or maybe we should have sex in the
Right.
middle of the day because we know we're both off this day, and the kids aren't home, or whatever the case may be, or you guys are out on vacation, and you're like, this is a nice spot on the beach, and there's no one around because it's super duper early in the morning. Maybe we should just have sex out here real quick. Like, I'm not saying go to the extreme, but I'm not saying you should automatically jump to cucking or fetishes or stuff like that. But start off somewhere small. Like, It might be role playing.
Yeah, I mean, like I know it probably sounds quite vanilla, but like literally, I think the closest really I got was like when I did sort of
Hmm.
69, and that was like again, it doesn't sound that amazing, but that was like my first thing of like, okay, I feel like I'm being
All
dominated a
right.
bit,
Okay.
you know,
Understandable.
by and I like that, but it was something which I never fully explored because honestly, I think I was worried about how I'd be perceived, and I didn't want. I don't know. I guess I just wanted to keep. I wanted to feel like more masculine or
Okay.
whatever, and
Understandable.
more
See,
like more in a
I feel
traditional
like
role.
I feel
And
like I feel like if if your partner knows who you are as a person, the sexual things you know, whether it be fetishes or like I said, even if it's little stuff like role play or you know little things like that, I feel like
yeah,
you know it's better to be open than than to not be open. One, because you're cutting yourself off from something that brings you joy or excitement or whatever the case may be, and then two,
yeah,
you're low key not giving your partner your all because you have these
right,
thoughts in your head and you're not you know explaining to your partner like, hey, you know, I kind of want to try A, B, and C, or you know, like I'm not even gonna lie, you could even start off with, you know, some people do, some people don't. You could even start off with, hey, you know, can we watch this porn together? Cause I kind
yeah,
of like it, or whatever the case may be. You know, you don't have to start off
yeah,
automatically jumping into a role, but I feel like
yeah. I wouldn't. Yeah, exactly. I wouldn't need to fuck someone in front of me.
yeah,
Like,
like I
please.
don't feel like you should automatically just jump into that role, but I feel like opening up, having conversations about certain things and being open with your partner sexually would is a big thing. People really don't talk about their sexual wants and needs. It's easier
Yeah,
to just as bad as
yeah. Well, I never did when I was in relationships. I never did. I never went there. It was like incredibly vanilla. But to be honest with you, like I feel like honestly, you know, like I think just because you're kinky doesn't mean you can't enjoy sort of like normal sex. Like,
sex.
do you know what I
Agreed.
mean?
That's definitely agreed. I feel like even if you are into kinks and fetishes, I feel like it doesn't mean you can't enjoy regular vanilla sex. I feel like I feel like it's about the way you and your partner kind of, like I said, work it out. Whether it be, you know, you guys have you guys can have vanilla sex 3 out of the 7 days, and y'all have y'all one day where you know you guys go out and you guys do your fetish stuff, whether it be, you know, you guys are swingers or you know you do like, you know, being dominated. I feel like the things you want sexually definitely should be something that you and your partner should talk about because
Yeah.
you know, like I said, I feel like that's a big part of relationships. It is. I feel like just as much as
I
emotional,
sorry,
I
it's
feel
funny you
like
said that, and I just thought of something. When you said swingers, it's like I've always looked, and I found one that was quite similar. Where I don't know why, but I always had this fantasy of like you go to a swingers with your girl,
mhm.
and then basically basically like no you like no one wants to have sex with you, but you let your wife do it, and that's how you end up becoming
A
a cuckold.
cuckold,
Like I always thought that.
hilarious.
Yeah, I always thought that would be hot.
Mhm.
And I saw this video where it was like it's sort of like it's really it's almost sad, like it's heartbreaking, but obviously as a cuck it like turned me on so much because it was like this it was like a couple, and like they're in a room with like these guys and these girls, and I think he's getting sucked off at one
Mhm.
point, but then what happens is like for some reason everybody just leaves the room, like they all go to a different room, and it's just him and his wife and this big black guy, and they end up like fucking, and he's literally just on the bed like playing with her hair, and I was like, oh, it's like it was so sad, but it was like obviously as a cuck, it's like sort of
Right.
it's like it's so hot. Like it's one of my favorite. And the fact that again, it sounds really bad, but the fact that he didn't have a choice, like the fact
Right.
that it's
And
something she wanted,
yeah.
like that makes it for me. Like that's the other thing. I feel like if when it comes from the guy,
Mhm.
like it's just shit. It's same with ass worship. Like if I say to her like, oh, I really want to worship your ass, and she's like, yeah, fine, it does. It's do you know what I mean? It's like it's
Right.
not that hot. Whereas if it was if even if it's not 100% real, if I feel like oh this is she wants me to do this, like this is what she needs me to do, it's so much better. And the same with the cuck stuff.
Right.
Like it would have to be like it'd have to be like her fantasy, like her thing of like
Her wanting to do it.
I yeah, and her wanting to do it, and me like sort of it's so stupid, but like me like sort of almost being forced to go
Mhm.
along with
Mhm.
it,
Understandable.
even though it's my fantasy in the first
Right.
place. But you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's understandable. That is definitely understandable. Definitely a main thing when it comes to being in a relationship. I feel like you definitely, like I said, have to explore some of your sexual likes and even some of your dislikes because I'm not gonna lie, like past relationships, I, I'm not a butt sex girl. Please do not try and put nothing in my butt because we'll break up and I don't ever want to speak or talk to you ever again.
Right.
Like, I like doing ass worship. I like maybe a tongue in my butt, but don't try and stick nothing else in there because no, that's not happening.
Yeah. No, 100%.
Yeah, I definitely feel this like the same. I feel like even with even with regular vanilla like vanilla sex, I feel like you still need to have consent and
Yeah, of course.
regulations
Yeah.
because listen, yeah, not
Yeah.
everybody likes everything, and not everybody wants to. Yeah, like some people don't like
Well,
kissing. Some people, some people only like doing it in missionary. So like, yeah, everybody has their thing, and it is what it is.
yeah, and it's interesting you said about like gradually building up. Like I think
Mhm.
I think that's definitely true. Like even in my own like at first it was like like literally just like a husband watching.
Right.
Then it becomes like a husband sort of kneeling and watching.
Right.
You know what I mean. It's like a gradual
Gradually
progression, and
progresses.
then
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean I saw one scene where like the girl was being fucked,
Mhm.
and she asks the sub to like sniff the guy's ass while he's like sniff
Why they're having sex?
his ass while he's yeah. I just thought, oh my god, like that is fucking that is humiliating. Like, that's so bad. Or I've seen some where like I like when the cuck has to like kiss his shoes,
Yeah.
like kiss the guy's shoes. Like I think that's quite hot. Um, but no, I just find it interesting that you because I think the thing you like about it is the exact thing that I like about it as well. Um, which is the fact that like you're you're not you don't get anything
Yeah,
basically
yeah.
like
It's the
you,
whole. It's the total status. It's giving her what she wants. It's about her satisfaction and her enjoyment. It is, and it
yeah,
is, and it's about. I feel like that's for her, and then I feel like for y'all, it's about y'all. Wanting. I feel like cooking is definitely a lot about y'all wanting but not getting.
Yeah, yeah, and of course when when you've had sessions like when I've done like maybe ask worship or
Hmm.
something with you, and that's all like
that's all like wanting, but you feel like you're getting as well. Like you feel like you're
Right.
getting something, you feel like you're getting somewhere. And then with cucking, it's like, no, like you don't get, like, you're a sub, you're a cuck, but I'm fe but you should be lucky to even be allowed to
Right,
watch.
right. Yeah,
And yeah, I like that.
yeah.
I don't want to take up too much more of your time, but yeah, just nice to
Yes,
catch
because you
up.
definitely have to get to work soon.
Yeah, yeah. I've been chatting shit for so long. Oh my God.
All right, yeah, you go get ready for work soon.
Well, not yet. I gotta I gotta go back and watch that video you sent me now. 100%.
I'm surprised you still have that.
Oh, I literally, it's like, it's, you don't even have the account anymore, but I've definitely got the video.
Well, with that being said, a good night, Philly gang, and make sure y'all tap into the next episode.